I want to know, what do you think about this whole quantum craze? Did you trade it, and what are you looking for going forward here?
It's almost as if I pitched you that question ahead of time so that I could stroke my ego a little bit and tell you how great of a trader I am.
Oh, here we go. Let's go.
The quantum short is overall, because I traded so many of them, one of the best trades I've ever had in my entire career. I was short and did very well with RGTI, QUBT, LAES, KULR, IONQ. I feel like I had the whole complex of these things, QBTS. I was short all of them. I was short them on size. This move to me made absolutely zero sense with where they were trading. Now, the tricky part about trading is you could have looked, in my opinion, at RGTI back in mid-December when this thing was trading at $10, $11 and said, this makes absolutely no sense. The stock just went from $1.50 to $10 here. The company in the first 3 quarters of 2024 has had $8 million in revenue and is trading at like a $2.5 billion valuation, something like that. And if you began to just short in mid-December at $10, you were getting your face ripped off by the time this thing got up to $20 and still only had $8 million of revenue in the first 3 quarters of 2024, but now was trading at like a $5.6 billion valuation. So the move made absolutely no sense to me, but the timing on it when it comes to these squeezes and these types of stocks can be very, very difficult, because if you just blindly short something because you think it doesn't make any sense, especially if it's a low float stock, which luckily RGTI and most of the names I focused on were not low floats, especially if you're trying to do this in something that's low float, it could be career ending. So timing is really important. Game planning is really important. I remember I had shorted RGTI back here on like this December 18th move, but I got all out of it into the next day pullback on December 19th. And then it gave this next wave higher. And I started to really, really layer into these on the short side. We saw this shooting star come in. Our RGTI was my heaviest one, even though I was in all of these. So that's why I'm just focusing on this chart.
Sure.
We had the shooting star come in on the upside on January 6th, where this was really struggling with the $20 level for a couple of days in a row. We had some weakness on the 7th, and then we had Jensen Huang come out that evening and say, hey, I think quantum is a great idea for the future, but it's 20, 30 years away. And then these things just got absolutely, absolutely crushed. I mean, this RGTI is basically a pre-revenue company. Like I said, $8 million in revenue in the first 3 quarters of 2024. The interesting thing about it is I'm actually long right now. I flipped long for just a cute little potential bounce back trade. I don't have nearly the same amount of conviction or size as I did on the short. But now that we've had 3, 4 really big down days in a row where these things have cratered from, just using RGTI as an example, $20+ down to $6, and there's a little bit of a support area around this 6 or a little bit below it, I'm looking to see if I can get a few dollars snapback on these things, with my saying that I genuinely don't believe in them. I think that these things belong lower than where they're currently trading even now. But the way that markets work is they work in periods of time where you get these little bounce backs even on the way down. And after 3 really big down days in a row, I want to see if I can get a little bit of a bounce back in this RGTI to somewhere between $8 and $9. I'm also long QUBT for a similar bounce back. I want to see if I can get a little bit of a bounce back in this thing, maybe back to $9. I've got SOUN. This was another one that I was short, not a quantum play, more of an AI play, but it was trading similarly with these quantum names. Did well on the short side. I'm long this morning, looking for a little bit of a bounce back. Maybe I can get a move to 14 quarter, 14.50, something like that. So not being too greedy. I genuinely don't believe in them, but these things have created phenomenal trading opportunities, I think, on both sides of the market.
Yeah, I think that you're totally right there. So would it be fair to say then that you kind of stalked this short based on just the financial position of the company, right? You talked about a pre-revenue here. There's market hype and all of that that's driving it. But would you say that the valuation is like the primary metric here, where you're like, this is just way too skewed? and I'm going to try and play a regression back to the mean. Is that fair?
Yeah, so the way that I broadly describe my approach to trading is 85% technical analysis, 15% fundamental analysis.
Okay.
I like to utilize an understanding of fundamentals to just give me an idea of what's going on with the market, of what's going on with individual companies. Do they belong, whatever that means, at certain prices, at certain levels? Do the fundamentals justify that or not? But like I was saying, I would argue that in mid-December, the fundamentals didn't justify RGTI to be at $10, yet it went to 20 plus before it actually broke. So that's where the technicals come in. The technicals tell you the timing, the risk management, the game planning, how to maximize reward. So technicals, I think, are the most important thing. But if you can combine that with a little bit of a fundamental thesis, it gives you greater conviction on your trades when they properly set up.